Welcome back, folks. In part 3 of our series, we're diving deep into the tumultuous life of Heracles, the man who would become a god. Last time, we saw how Hera's jealousy was ignited by his very existence. Now, let's witness how that divine fury shapes his destiny. Asameda infant Heracles displayed his demigod strength in the most shocking way. One night, Hera, consumed by her hatred for Zeus's illegitimate son, sent a gigantic, venomous serpent slithering into his cradle. While his mortal twin brother Iphicles screamed in terror, baby Heracles just giggled. He grabbed one snake in each tiny fist and, with a squeeze, effortlessly strangled them both. When his panicked parents rushed in, they found him playing with the lifeless serpents as if they were toys. This was the first sign that Heracles was no ordinary child. He was destined for greatness and danger. Years passed. Heracles grew into a man of incredible strength and renown, a hero celebrated throughout Greece. He married the beautiful princess Megara, and they had several children. For a time, it seemed he might escape his cursed fate. But Hera had not forgotten. Her vengeance was patient, and it was cruel. She cast a spell of madness upon him, a blinding rage that made him unable to distinguish friend from foe. In this horrific delusion, he saw his own wife and children as monstrous enemies. When the madness finally lifted, Heracles awoke to a scene of unimaginable horror. He was standing amidst the bodies of his own family, his hands stained with their blood. The weight of his guilt was crushing. Desperate for a way to atone for this unspeakable act, Heracles traveled to the sacred oracle at Delphi. The Pythia, the priestess of Apollo, declared his path to redemption. He was to serve his cousin, the cowardly and envious king Eurystheus of Tiryns, for 12 long years. He must complete any task Eurystheus demanded of him, no matter how impossible it seemed. Only then would he be purified of his sin. Eurystheus, secretly guided and encouraged by the ever-watchful Hera, was delighted by this opportunity to humiliate and destroy his powerful cousin. He devised a series of 10 tasks, so difficult, so deadly, that no mortal could possibly survive them. These would become known as the legendary 12 labors of Hera. The number changed from 10 to 12 because Eurystheus, in his pettiness, refused to count 2 of the labors on technicalities. The first labor was to kill the Nemean lion, a monstrous beast whose golden fur was impervious to all weapons. Swords shattered, and arrows bounced off its hide. Realizing weapons were useless, Heracles wrestled the beast with his bare hands, finally choking it to death. He then skinned the lion using its own razor-sharp claw and wore its impenetrable pelt as armor, a trophy of his first impossible victory. Next, he was sent to slay the Lernaean Hydra, a multi-headed water serpent whose venom was deadly, and for every head chopped off, 2 more would grow in its place. With the help of his nephew Iolaus, who cauterized the neck stumps with a torch to prevent regrowth, Heracles systematically defeated the beast, dipping his arrows in its venomous blood to make them lethal. The labors grew in scope and danger, testing every ounce of his strength, cunning, and endurance. He captured the swift, golden-horned Cyrenian hind, a creature sacred to the goddess Artemis. After chasing it for a full year, he trapped the fearsome Erymanthian boar in deep snow. He cleaned the Augean stables, which housed thousands of cattle and hadn't been cleaned in 30 years, by cleverly diverting 2 entire rivers to flush them out in a single day. He drove away the Stymphalian birds, man-eating creatures with bronze beaks and metallic feathers that could shoot like arrows. The labors then took him far beyond the borders of Greece. He traveled to Thrace to capture the man-eating mares of Diomedes, wild horses that fed on human flesh. He sailed through the land of the Amazons to retrieve the golden belt of their queen Hippolyta, a task that ended in a tragic misunderstanding in battle. He journeyed to the edge of the known world to steal the magnificent red cattle of the 3-bodied giant Geryon. All this time, Zeus watched from a limb. While he couldn't simply remove Hera's curse, he secretly aided his favorite son. He often sent the goddess Athena, a wise and strategic guide, to offer Heracles crucial advice. On rare occasions, when the odds were truly insurmountable, a timely thunderbolt from Zeus would even the playing field. The final labors were the most daunting, designed to be utterly impossible. Eurystheus ordered Heracles to fetch the golden apples of the Hesperides, which grew in a secret garden at the world's end, guarded by a fearsome 100-headed dragon. To find the garden, Heracles had to trick the Titan Atlas, who was condemned to hold the heavens on his shoulders. Heracles offered to take the burden for a moment, if Atlas would fetch the apples for him. When Atlas returned, he tried to trick Heracles into holding the sky forever. But Heracles, feigning agreement, asked Atlas to just take it back for a second, so he could adjust his cloak for comfort. The foolish Titan agreed, and Heracles grabbed the apples and ran. For his 12th and final labor, Heracles was commanded to do something no mortal had ever done before: descend into the underworld and bring back Cerberus, the 3-headed guard dog of Hades. With courage and respect, Heracles confronted Hades, the lord of the dead, who agreed to the request on one condition: Heracles had to subdue the monstrous hound using only his bare hands. Heracles wrestled the ferocious beast into submission and dragged it, snarling and struggling, all the way to Eurystheus' court. The cowardly king was so terrified he hid in a large bronze jar, begging Heracles to take the monster back to the underworld. After 12 long years, the labors were complete. Heracles had faced down monsters, tricked titans, and even walked out of the land of the dead. He was purified of his crime, his spirit forged in the fires of impossible trials. Seeing his incredible perseverance and virtue, even the gods were moved. Hera's relentless hatred finally began to soften. In an ultimate act of reconciliation, she not only forgave Heracles, but also gave him her own daughter Hebe, the goddess of youth, as his immortal wife. But the story doesn't end there. Heracles' death was as dramatic as his life. Tricked by a dying centaur, his second wife Deianira gave him a robe soaked in what she thought was a love potion, but was actually a corrosive poison. In excruciating agony, Heracles built his own funeral pyre on Mount Otah, and lay upon it, ready to end his suffering. As the flames rose, a great thunderbolt crashed down from the heavens. It was Zeus, intervening one last time. The pyre was consumed, but Heracles' mortal body was gone. His divine spirit was lifted from the flames and raised to Mount Olympus. And so, Heracles, the hated son of Zeus, the mortal tormented by a goddess, became a full immortal. He was the only hero ever born of a mortal woman to ascend and become a true god, taking his rightful place among the pantheon. His journey from tragedy to triumph, from a cursed man to an eternal deity, remains one of the greatest stories ever told. Thanks for watching our deep dive into the incredible saga of Heracles. If you enjoyed this journey through myth and legend, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure. See you next time.